The beginning of creation. Let's look at the contents real quick so we can see the flow of information. So after we finished going over the segment on the attributes of Allah, that first volume or the second volume, then we started talking about prophethood, and we went through those cases until we talked about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wasallam himself. And from there we started talking about essential convictions. And the first thing we mentioned was the angels, because that's what's in the hadith of Jibreel. And tu'mina billahi wa malaikatih, to believe in Allah and His angels. Why we talked about the Prophet before we talked about the angels? If it came in the hadith of Jibreel, the mentioning of the angels after the mentioning of Allah, yani the first section here talks about the belief in Allah, yani this prior section, the attributes of Allah, names of Allah, seeing Allah, qadar. Why didn't we go to angels immediately? Because the basic of the belief is to believe in Allah and His Messenger. So we had to talk about prophethood first, yani second. And then when we finished saying what we wanted to say about prophethood in general and about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in particular, then we wanted to talk, here's a section, generally about matters of conviction that the Prophet came with, that we have to believe in. And we saw the quote of At-Tahawi in this issue and the quote of An-Nasafi in this issue, and the books of Aqidah have similar quotes. This was mentioned before the angels because the angels are included under this, under believing in essential convictions. So we talked about these essential convictions generally without details, just listing them. And then when we wanted to start talking about everything in detail one by one, first thing was the angels, because that's what came in the hadith of Jibreel after the mentioning of Allah. Then came the mentioning of the angels. So we talked about the angels. وَمَلَائِكَتِهِ وَكُتُبِهِ وَرُسُلِهِ. We already talked about books of Revelation. We talked about prophets. وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ, and then to talk about the afterlife that's coming now. وَأَن تُؤْمِنَ بِالْقَدَرِ, and destiny, we already talked about it. So now we're here, the beginning of creation. The alam, that's with the fatha on the lam. Alam, not alim with kasra. But kasra means scholar or knower. Alim, that has the pattern fa'il. This is alam, has the pattern fa'al, has the pattern fa'al. Not many words have this pattern. So when you learn some words that have that pattern, remember them. It's just a handful of them. Amongst them is khatam. So the alam, the world or the universe, is everything other than Allah. Footnote here. Al-alameen, so according to many scholars, is not actually the plural of al-alam. Let's take alaf here. Alameen, according to many scholars, is not actually the plural of alams. What are we talking about right now? We're talking about the alam. So you know the word al-alameen. And you might say that's the plural of alam. But according to many scholars, it's not. Because alamun is more specific than alam. Means refers to less things. It's not the plural of alam, although it looks like it is, because it actually referred to less things. More specific means refers to less things. According to them, It is the name of a type of thing. That means common noun. Ism jins. Common noun. Just as man, for example, is the name of a type of thing. Rajul is a common noun. The name of a type of thing. Ism jins. So according to them, alamun is independent word. Only looks like the plural of alam, and really it's a common noun that looks like a plural. The plural of the term, of any term, the plural of a term would not be more specific, meaning refer to less things, than its singular. Singular should refer to less and the plural should refer to more. It is not a plural, but a term that resembles a sound masculine plural. It appears to be one. And it was given its syntactical judgments, means it functions like one too. Its rules are just like the rules of a sound masculine plural. Meaning you say alamun if it's nominative. You say alamin if it's accusative or genitive. Using English words here. So it looks like a plural, sounds like a plural. It acts like a plural, but doesn't mean a plural. Doesn't have the meaning of a plural. And there are several words in Arabic like that. It should not be understood from the term universe, an endless and black void. An endless black void having no up or down, filled with stars. Each star millions of light years away from each other, and each having its own solar system, etc., until the end of all the stuff they say there. It may mean everything that exists, the word universe. Here's a definition. Universe, the collective name of heaven and earth. So not just of heaven and earth, and all that belongs to them. So heaven and earth, though, is less than all of the universe. Heaven and earth itself is less than all of the universe. Because paradise and hell are part of the universe. But they're not part of heavens and earth. Here's another definition. The whole system of created things. The whole system of created things. Yes, that's the universe. Al-alam. Only thing that gives me an aversion to using the word universe is the fear of someone assuming that I'm talking about an endless black void without up or down. Without up or down. So according to that contemporary talk, the sky above us, what we believe that there is a sky above us, it's not there. What we believe is a sky above us, according to contemporary scientists, is not there. According to them, actually, there's no up or down. According to them, there's no up or down. Yani, because to them, we're just on this earth. And according to them, there's people even upside down on the earth in comparison to others. Like, according to them, we are right now, like I am right now, for example, upside down in comparison to someone else. So, but I'm not upside down, though. So that's what's going to happen when you listen to the kuffar. You're going to be believing you're upside down, for example. So that's what they believe, that there isn't any up or down, and the earth is just in an orbit around the sun with the other planets of this solar system in an orbit around the sun, and there's no up or down for them, actually, for the totality of all of that, and doesn't come to an end, endless. Yani, to them, you can just keep going and going and going. They're filled with stars, each millions of light years away from each other. That's what they say. Like when you see all the stars in the sky, you can see like many stars in the sky. According to them, all those many stars you see, really, they are millions of years away from each other. Subhanallah. So you're going to be so ignorant when you learn from kuffar about some things. You won't learn how to think right. You don't even learn how to perceive things properly. The distance between the earth and the sky is only 500 years. And the stars are between the earth and the sky. So how could they be millions of years away from each other? And each star has its own solar system according to them. They say the closest star to us is the sun. The sun is just a star like other stars, and it's the closest one to us. That's our star. That's the star of our solar system. And our planets, the Earth, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. And maybe they started debating about Pluto, and maybe they have debate, is there another one? They say all of those are planets that, like Earth, not exactly like Earth, but same type of thing called planet, according to them. And they all go around the sun in their own orbits. They say the Earth is just the perfect distance away from the sun to accommodate life. If it were any closer, it would be too hot, and if it were any further, it would be too cold. So none of that is the belief of the Muslims. Rather, the sun, it's a kawkab. Kawkab means planet. It's a daytime planet, but planet not with the meaning that they mean today. Planet with the old meaning of planet. Yani, so it's one of the heavenly bodies, one of the celestial bodies. It's the daytime one. That's called Shams, and there's only one of them. And there's another thing called Qamar, moon. And there's one of those too, only. There's only one of those. According to the Kuffar, there's many, many moons. Any planet might have many moons, according to them. And there's Nujum, stars. This is all between the earth and the sky. Those stars, they are Kawakib, they are planets. And there's really up and down. And the sky is above us, not surrounding the earth. It doesn't mean the earth is flat. And there's no people upside down on the earth. So, the alam, the world or the universe, is everything other than Allah. Footnote. According to the mutakallimun, the theologians, the alam is everything other than Allah. And some of them said that it is everything other than Allah and His attributes. Yani, some of them, they insist on adding and His attributes. The alam, the universe, is everything other than Allah and His attributes. And others, they said, the universe is everything other than Allah. The first group said that there is no need to add and His attributes. It's not necessary. You can say it if you want to, but you don't have to. Because the unrestricted use of the name Allah is a name for Him being ascribed with all of His attributes. When you say Allah, then that's a name for Him being attributed with His attributes. This was said by Ilkiya. He's the peer of Al-Ghazali. Al-Amidi said the same when he said the attributes of the self of Allah are excluded when we say everything existing other than Allah. When we say everything other than Allah, we're not excluding the attributes from that statement. We don't have to say the attributes, and we're not excluding them also. Because the attributes are not other than Allah, according to what Al-Ash'ari has determined. And thus, the universe is inclusive of all the possible matters, all the possibilities. As Zarkashi said in Tashnif al-Masami', is it derived from ilm, knowledge? Yani, is the universe called alam from the word ilm, which means knowledge, for those beings within it that have knowledge? Meaning, is the universe named after creatures that it contains? This universe contains some sorts of creatures. Humans, angels, genies. These creatures have knowledge. These knowing creatures, is the universe named after what it contains of knowledgeable creatures? So it's called alam because it contains beings with ilm? Or is it derived from the word alama, which means sign, because it is a sign for the existence of its creator? Is the world, the universe, called alam because it is an alama, a sign for the existence of its creator? As Zarkashi said, there are two sayings. So footnote here, our Sheikh says that it is derived from alama, sign or indicator, something that points to or points out things. Because everything in it is a sign proving that there is a creator. Yani, this is how Arabic language is. So in Arabic, you would have some root letters, jazr, root letters. These root letters would have some meaning. And then something would be named, something would have a name from these root letters. This thing has its own name. It has its own unique name, but from these root letters. And with the significance of the meaning of these root letters. So, for example, we say the name Allah is not derived from another name. It's not taken from some other name like Al-Ilah. It's just built into the Arabic language. That doesn't deny the fact that it has the root letters of Hamza, Lam, Ha, which means worship. And it has the meaning of worship, these three letters. And many things like that. You asked me to explain that again for you. So, Arabic language has root letters. These root letters would have a meaning. And then something would have a name from these root letters. So that it has its own original name. Meaning what we're saying is, it's not because it happens to have some set of root letters that it has a prior derivation. No. It could just come like that, merely in the Arabic language, but has these root letters in its name for meaning. So, Alam is the name of the universe. It has this name because of its root letters, Ain, Lam, Mim, having the meaning of being a sign or an indicator. Since the universe is an indicator that there's a creator, then it was named Alam. And I'll give you another example. You have some root letters, Kaf, Fa, Ra. That means a lot, has the meaning of plentifulness. So there's a river in paradise called Al-Kawthar. Al-Kawthar, Kawthar. Why this river is called Kawthar? Because of its abundant goodness. How abundantly good it is. The soil around it and the precious stones in that soil and the water itself of that river and whatever else is there. So it has this name that has the meaning of abundance, and like that, many things. So a book is called in Arabic a kitab because it has information collected in it. It has collection in it, a collection. It has a collection of information. Kaf, ta, ba has the meaning of collection. So a book is called kitab because of the information that it stores. And like that. Does that answer your question? You can follow up if you want to.
Yeah, all that. Yes, all that questions. But the other one said, you said that one can't say that Allah, the word Allah doesn't has an origin from something.
Yeah, the name Allah is not, according to the Strong saying, derived from a prior word like Al-Ilah, which is what some said. Some said there was the word Al-Ilah, and then by some process became Allah. Other scholars, they said, no, there is a word Al-Ilah, and yeah, it does come from the root letters Hamza, Lam, Ha. But there's another word also, which is Allah, and also comes from Hamza, Lam, Ha, but doesn't come from Ilah. It's his own word. It's the name of the Creator. That's his moniker, the Creator's moniker, Allah. That's clear? Hamza, Lam, Ha has the meaning of worship.
Yeah, that's clear. Cause I remember I heard one said something about Al-Ilah means the God, Allah.
Because God is the one who deserves to be worshipped.
Can one say that?
Yes.
Okay.
But still keep the link here.
Okay.
Yani, why would his name? One would translate Ilah as God. Yes. But why is the name of God in Arabic Ilah? Because God is the one who's supposed to be worshipped. Yani, Ilah means ma'luh. Ma'luh means ma'bud, worshipped. As if Al-Ilah means the worshipped. But usually we say it means God. Or the God. It means, so very, very literally, the worshipped. The worshipped one. Who's that? That's God. Yani. And then some scholars were more precise. They said the rightfully worshipped one. So to exclude anything that's worshipped. Not anything that's worshipped is really God. Some things are worshipped unrightfully. So, any other question?
No question, Sheikh. May Allah reward you.
Ameen, and you too. So this universe was named Alam in Arabic. Has these root letters, Ain, Lam, Mim. These root letters have more than one meaning. One meaning for these root letters is knowledge, ilm. And another meaning for these root letters is sign. Sign. Ayah. Ayah. Ayah means sign. So the Shaykh is saying the alam in Arabic is called alam because it's a sign. Because everything in it is a sign proving that there is a creator. It is a combination of signs that show that there is only one creator. The alam could refer to a type of thing. Yani, the word alam, you can also use it. So there's only one alam, the universe. Okay. You can still use this word to refer to types, such as the alam of plants, the world of plants, and the alam, the world of the angels, and the alam, the world of the genies, etc. The world of the humans, the world of the animals. According to this, then, yani, if you use alam in this way, then alam is, yani, there's an alam of the plants, an alam of the angels, an alam of the humans, an alam of the jinn, etc. If you use alam in this way, then it is valid to say alamun or alameen is the plural of alam, and that it refers to everything other than Allah. Al-alamun or al-alameen may specifically refer to the humans, angels, and jinn. So, if you use alam to mean that, in such a way as to say the alam of plants, the alam of angels, the alam of jinn, then it's valid to say alamun is the plural of alam, and then you're going to say the alamun, al-alamun is everything other than Allah. And also, al-alamun may specifically refer to humans, angels, and jinn. So that means not everything other than Allah. Al-alamun could be used to refer to not everything other than Allah, some things other than Allah, humans, angels, and genies. And it may refer to humans and jinn exclusively, al-alamun. Then it means intelligent creatures. If al-alamun refers to humans, angels, and jinn, or to humans and jinn, then it means intelligent creatures. But it could refer to humans and jinn exclusively without including the angels. If you say that Muhammad came to warn al-alameen, he is a warner to al-alameen, then it's only for humans and jinn because the angels don't need any warning. So, what are we saying here? We're saying al-alam. We started by saying it means everything other than Allah. Alam. And therefore, alamun is not its plural. Because we're not saying there's many of these things, this alam that's everything other than Allah, the universe. We're not saying there's many of them, so that alamun would be plural of alam. So there's alam, it means everything other than Allah, the universe. And there's another word, alamun, that looks like it's the plural for alam, but it's not, and really it's a common noun. And some say, yes, al-alamun is everything other than Allah. Al-alamun is everything other than Allah. And it is the plural of alam. So how would it then be the plural of alam? Because for alamun to be the plural of alam means you're explaining alam to be relative. So then there's the alam of the plants, and the alam of the angels, and the alam of the jinn, etc. So Allah is Rabbul Alameen, the Lord of all the worlds. So Al-Alameen then is everything other than Allah. So if we say alam is the universe, everything other than Allah, and alamun is not its plural, why is not, what does alamun mean then? What does it mean to say it's a common noun? The common noun means the name of a type. Like rajul, man is a type. So every male human who's pubescent, you can call him rajul. This name fits that type. So we are saying alamun is not the plural of alam, and rather it's a common noun. So what type of thing is it referring to? It's referring to a type of thing that's called aqil. Aqil. Yeah, intelligent being. An intelligent being. Who are those? What type of thing? Yani what falls under this kind of thing? Humans, angels, and genies. And also al-hurul ain and al-ghilman al-mukhalladun. Yeah, I'll come back to explain that for you again at the end, inshallah. So The alam, the world or the universe, is everything other than Allah, and that's a singular. It's one thing. And thus, it is inclusive of all possible matters. Yes. And they differed. Is it derived from ilm, for those beings within it that have knowledge? Or is it derived from alama, which means a sign? There are two sayings. Yani, some said it's derived from ilm, and some said it's derived from alama. Footnote. Ibn Abi Rabi' said, for it to be taken from alama is stronger. It has stronger argument. Because it would be named for its attribute. If it were taken from ilm, knowledge, then its name would be taken from the description of someone else, which is the knowledge that takes place upon pondering about it. So that's also another saying there. Yani. According to Ibn Abi Rabi', he's saying, okay, some of them said it's taken from alama, sign. And some of them said it's taken from ilm, knowledge. So if you name it, if it's named alam because it's an alama, a sign, then it's going to be named after its own quality, which is being a sign for the existence of its creator. But if it's called alam because of ilm, according to him, it's going to be named after the knowledge that takes place when you ponder on the alam. So he's saying it's named after the knowledge that takes place upon pondering on it. And we set up here, according to Az-Zarkashi, is it derived from ilm because of the beings within it that have knowledge? Those are not necessarily two different sayings. They have knowledge because they pondered on this world around them, so they arrived at knowledge. So beyond it, beyond the universe, beyond the alam, there is no void. That means no space, no emptiness, nor an object. So that means that we're not saying that the universe itself is in a place. Rather, the universe takes up its own space. It fills its own space. Yani, it is a place. It is a place. So it's not going to be in a place. Just like time is not going to take time. Time doesn't take time. Rather, it is itself time. So you're not going to refer it back to another time. And place is not in a place. It is itself place. So that's the universe in totality, and beyond it, there is no void and there is no object. As for heavens and earth specifically, which is less than all of the universe, heavens and earth is less than all of the universe, because paradise and hell are part of the universe, but outside of heavens and earth. Heavens and earth were created in 6 days. All the bodies in the world would either be of the upper world, al-ulwiyah, like the skies and the stars, and including what is confirmed by the religion, like the Arsh and the Kursi, which those are over the 7th heaven. The Arsh and the Kursi are over the 7th heaven. That means outside of heavens and earth. Still considered, though, amongst the ulwiyah, the upper world, the upper universe. And Sidratul Muntaha, which is within the heavens, and extends, yani, it's in the heavens. That tree, Sidratul Muntaha, that enormous tree. And the tablet, the guarded tablet, and the pen, and paradise. Or the things in the things in the world would be among the entities in the lower world, the sufliya, and that includes this earth and everything below it. Whoever believes that the first thing in the world was the light of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is not charged with blasphemy. Let's say anyone who believes that the first thing in the world was the light of Muhammad is not charged with blasphemy, but is deemed mistaken for opposing 3 authentic hadiths. Yani, he's a deviant. He has a deviated heretical belief here. The word mistaken does not completely reflect the misfortune of his status. Someone might take that as lenient. That is lenient, actually. And we're not denying a harsher case for this one. But this is what the Sheikh said. So, just saying what the Sheikh said. He's mistaken for opposing 3 authentic hadiths. The first is the hadith of Abu Hurairah, that he said, "Oh Allah's Messenger, surely when I see you, myself feels good and my eye is pleased. So tell me about everything." The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Kullu shay'in khuliqa min al-ma'." Everything was created from the water. The second authentic hadith is a hadith from a group of the companions' sons who learned from their fathers, who learned from the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Inna Allah lam yakhluq shay'an mimma khalaqa qabla al-ma'. Allah did not create anything of all that He created before the water. The third is the hadith of Imran ibn Husayn. كان الله ولم يكن شيء غيره وكان عرشه على الماء. Allah was, and there was nothing other than Him, and His arsh was over the water. These two, the arsh and the water, were the first of everything in the world, yani the very first creations. The water was the absolute first and the arsh was second. As realized by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying over the water, it hints at the arsh being delayed after that origin. Yani when he said, وَكَانَ عَرْشُهُ عَلَى الْمَاءِ, in that phrasing, there's a hint to the water being prior to the arsh. But regardless, yani, even if you can't catch that hint, even if it doesn't seem like there's a hint there for you, what we are saying is still proven by the first 2 hadiths that prove that the water is absolutely the first creation. So the arsh would have to be not the first. And if there, yani, so it was the second. There is no need to give non-literal interpretations to these 3 hadiths, that they mean relatively first, not absolutely first. Yani, to say, what, you mean these hadiths about the water being first? That's just relative. Relatively, that's awwaliya nisbiyah. That's a person flipping on us what we say. He was a person who believed wrongly. He believed that the light of Muhammad was first thing, not this one. Yani, it's okay. I'm not going to say what I was going to say. So, there's no need to give non-literal interpretations to these 3 hadiths. Yani, we take them as they appear, that the water is the absolutely first creation. We don't give them a reinterpretation to say they mean relatively the first, not absolutely, for the sake of the flimsy, unconfirmed fabrication. أول ما خلق الله يا جابر نور نبيك خلقه الله من نوره قبل الأشياء. The first of what Allah created, O Jabir, was the light of your prophet. Allah created it from His light before the other things. So that's a fabricated hadith right there. Let's see some footnotes. So Abu Hurairah said to the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam, when I see you, myself feels good and my eye is pleased. So tell me about everything. Footnote. Abu Hurairah's question was about the first thing in the world and the creation's origin that had nothing before it. That from which everything else was created. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam informed him that it was water. This hadith is narrated by Ibn Hibban, who authenticated it. So we said there's 3 authentic hadiths that prove that water is the first creation. The second hadith we mentioned was إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَمْ يَخْلُقُ شَيْئًا مِمَّا خَلَقَ قَبْلَ الْمَاءِ. Allah did not create anything of all that He created before the water. Footnote. Hafiz ibn Hajar narrated this either as a Hasan or Sahih hadith, according to him, because that is his condition for referring to hadiths in his explanation of Sahih al-Bukhari. This is in the chapter of the beginning of the creation upon, so Hafiz ibn Hajar narrated this second hadith either as a Hasan hadith or a Sahih hadith, according to him, because that is his condition for inserting a hadith in Fathul Bari. Meaning, Fathul Bari is the explanation of Sahih al-Bukhari, as you know, and al-Bukhari made it a condition to insert a hadith into this book that it would be Sahih, in particular, authentic. So Ibn Hajar, he did an explanation for this book and he gave it a similar condition, but not exactly. His condition is that any hadith he inserts in the book is Hasan or Sahih. So Al-Bukhari, he doesn't have to say to you for every hadith, this hadith is Sahih, this hadith is Sahih, because he's telling you, if I put it in the book, it's Sahih. So Ibn Hajar is doing similar. He's telling you, if a hadith is in this explanation of mine, then it's Hasan or Sahih. And now he doesn't have to say Hasan or Sahih. And then when you explain, like what we're doing now, you're going to say, like you're trying to tell a Wahhabi something out of Fathul Bari, or someone who's mistaken in this issue, for example, and then you told him this hadith. And you say, where you get it from? You say Fathul Bari, and he says, don't bring those weak hadiths, because he's stubborn, stone-hearted one. So you say to him, no, this hadith is Hasan or Sahih. But then he's going to still argue with you. Just because you said Hasan or Sahih and he's stubborn, then now he's going to argue with you about saying Hasan or Sahih. That's how the argumentative ones are. This hadith is in the chapter of the beginning of creation. Upon mentioning, looks like something's missing here. So let's just take this out right here. Period. I don't even know what's missing. This is in the chapter of the beginning of the creation. Let's take off that too. Chapter of the beginning of creation. Then we said there's no need to give non-literal interpretations to these 3 hadiths about water being the first creation. Footnote. The rule is that the religious texts are not given non-literal interpretations, ta'wil, unless there is a confirmed transmitted evidence. Unless there is confirmed transmitted evidence or definitive mental evidence to justify this non-literal interpretation. Doing so for other than these 2 reasons is playing with the religious texts. So we're going to take them as they appear, and we're going to say water was the absolute first creation. We should probably stop here, though we need to finish with these footnotes, because as you can see here, these are big footnotes here, just like pages. So we want to talk about the flimsy, unconfirmed fabrication. So we have a footnote about its flimsiness. We have a footnote about its being unconfirmed. But it's a long footnote, so we should come back to that. But let me just finish reading the body here to the end of the section. The author says, on the other hand, it is correct and honest to give a non-literal explanation to the hadith of the high pen, that it does not mean the absolute first. This hadith, أول إن أول ما خلق الله القلم. Surely, the first thing that Allah created was the pen. So it looks like the pen is the first thing. But this one has the alternative interpretation. It means relatively first, not absolute first. Absolute first is the literal meaning. Relatively first is the alternative interpretation. This hadith gets the alternative interpretation, not the hadiths about the water, the hadith about the pen. We must do that because both the reports about the water and about the pen are confirmed. And we are able to reconcile between this hadith and those three hadiths about the precedence of the water. And those three hadiths about the precedence. And we are able to reconcile between this hadith and those three hadiths about the precedence of the water. As Ibn Hajar said, the high pen is being compared to the writing that came after it. It wrote everything that will happen in the world, and after it finished writing, Allah created heavens and earth. Meaning that's the relevance of mentioning the pen, which was not absolutely the first. The Arsh itself was not absolutely the first. And the guarded tablet was not absolutely the first. The Arsh was second, the pen was third, the guarded tablet was fourth. So out of three things that are not absolutely the first, why was the third thing chosen to be called the first? Why not the second or the fourth? What makes the pen so relevant? What makes the pen so relevant is that the pen wrote, it documented the events. Then after the pen finished writing, everything started happening. So that's the relevance. Yani, we're talking about what happened, the things that happened. So in comparison to all the things that were documented to happen, the pen was first. The pen that did the documenting. Muslim narrated that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, إن الله كتب مقادير الخلائق قبل أن يخلق السماوات والأرض ب50 ألف سنة وكان عرشه على الماء. Certainly, Allah wrote the destinies, means made be written. He made the pen write on the tablet without contact. Yani, without God contacting the pen, because God is not a body. He wrote, meaning he made the pen write the destinies of the creations before creating the heavens and the earth by 50,000 years. Yani, the pen finished writing, and then there was still 50,000 years before things started happening. And his Arsh, before that, his Arsh was already, before this documentation, was over the water. وَسُبْحَانَ اللَّهِ وَبِحَمْدِهِ